Hi, this is Andrew Moore-Crispin for Gadget TV on Butterscotch.com, and today we're taking a look at the Nokia C6, also known as the C600 or the C601. Now we have the black model in the studio today. It's also available in a white model. This phone is running Symbian S60, and you can get it for between $0 and $250. $0 if you're willing to sign a long-term contract, $250 if you're not willing to sign a contract. So if we take the device off its little stand here, we can see the real star of the show, a full QWERTY keyboard running down here. Now we also have a touch screen at the top here. We can actually change these widgets around. It is a resistive touch screen, not a capacitive touch screen, but it is a touch screen nonetheless. Now this phone is for the kind of person that wants to add some smartphone type features to their phone, but doesn't want to pay a full smartphone data plan and all the expenses that come with that. So you can see here we have access to our email. Now it's going to be running over the cellular network. We're not going to get quite the the slick interface that we're used to with smartphones, but it does allow us to basically go through our email, reply, send emails, do all that kind of stuff. Let's go back here. Now it's actually giving me haptic feedback every time I press a button, and usually I'm not a huge fan of haptic feedback. However, in a case like this where you're dealing with a resistive touchscreen, you're not entirely sure if what you just touched actually worked or not, it is actually quite helpful. So you can see Facebook widget here. Now, in addition to running over the data network, we can also get onto our Wi-Fi networks and use the phone that way. If we hit this button here, the middle button, we can actually go through into some of the menu systems, and now we're seeing what really does look like Symbian S60. So if you've ever used a Nokia phone, you'll be pretty familiar with this interface. Now, interesting is the Maps application. Not too long ago, Nokia announced that it was making lifetime navigation free to all Nokia users. So we have guided navigation for both walking and driving and those kinds of things. And it actually is, I mean, it's not going to best a dedicated GPS unit, but for the price that you're paying, it's a pretty compelling offering. We also have access to the Ovi Store, which is Nokia's own application market. Now, if we're running on a non-smartphone data plan, this is the kind of thing you're definitely going to want to use over your Wi-Fi network at home. But there are actually some reasonably compelling offerings inside the Ovi Store. So in addition to a lot of the kind of websites that have been turned into applications, not a huge fan of those, but there are some actually useful things like the WhatsApp Messenger is pretty decent. Snap2 I've used and is reasonably good. See here we have Foursquare. Like I said, access to some of the smartphone type things without actually having the smartphone data plan associated. Web browsers, we can browse through the different app categories that are up here. See games, audio, and video, and all that kind of stuff. So given that this is a phone, it's pretty important to discuss the phone features. So here, if we tap on this middle key here, we get a touch dial pad. Now we're still getting the haptic feedback, which is helpful, like I said, on a screen like this. We can also go through, see our recent calls, our contacts, and do all that kind of stuff here. So you can see from this dialer, we can choose to call the person, we can send a message, we can save a person to contacts and do all that kind of stuff. Like I say, very much Symbian S60. If you've ever used a Nokia phone, it will be an interface that's familiar to you. While things have changed under the hood and we have access to the Ovi Store, navigation, and all that kind of stuff, it really does feel like previous versions of the Symbian operating system. So let's have a quick look at the hardware itself. As we mentioned, 3.5-inch touchscreen here. We also have the dedicated call, answer, and reject buttons and the menu button here. We mentioned the 4-line QWERTY keyboard, and the D-pad navigation is over here with a little enter button in the middle. We also have a front-facing camera, which is a neat touch. If we look on the back, we have a 5-megapixel camera with a dedicated flash. On the other side, we have a space for storage for inserting micro SD cards. Over here, we have a volume rocker and something that's fairly unique to Nokia devices, a lock switch here. And as we press that, it's actually vibrating and locking the screen. We have a dedicated camera button right here. On the bottom, we also have a charging port. Now, strangely, given that charging port there, we also have a micro B USB port up here. We really could have consolidated and just used one cable to charge and sync our phone, but hey, what are you going to do? And we also have a 3.5mm headphone jack right here. So that's a quick look at the Nokia C6. For Gadget TV, I'm Andrew Moore-Crispin. For more sweet stuff, visit Butterscotch.com.